Hi guys, good morning or good afternoon. Today we're going to write notes on Chapter 2. We've already learned about transformations for about 2 weeks now through discovery in our Desmos activity. But now we're actually going to formally write down these terms, these definitions, so that we have some type of reference. So the first type of transformation is a translation. A translation. So a translation is a transformation in which a figure slides but does not turn. All right, so if you remember, the original shape, the red shape in this case, is called the preimage. After a transformation is made, the preimage is called the image once it's transformed, either by translation, rotation, or reflection, or dilation. Here, what happened was our preimage slid or it just shifted to the right. And remember, a translation, you can go, see, like a translation, you can go up or down, right or left. But you cannot flip and you cannot rotate. Translation, you're just getting the object and you're moving it. Like you're sliding it up, down, right, left. Now the second transformation that we learned about was reflection. So a reflection, and again, I'm going to underline the key word. Sometimes it's called a flip, so or flip or mirror. So sometimes it's called flip or mirror, but most of the time if you're asked in a question, you're going to see it as a reflection. So a reflection is a transformation in which a figure is reflected. In a line called the line of reflection. All right, so now we're going to draw representations. So if we have a reflection, let's draw our first shape that we drew, or our pre-image. Let's draw our pre-image. Whoops. So again, this is our pre-image. And it does matter which is your pre-image and which is your image. And let's draw a mirrored version of this. Oops, wrong color. There. And the line of reflection will be this green line. And if you notice, this shape was flipped or mirrored to get us our image. And then the line of reflection is this one. That line of reflection. It's like the mirror. All right, so now we're going to talk about the third transformation that we learned about. We are going to talk about rotations. So a rotation, we're going to underline the word rotation, or turn, sometimes it's called a turn, is a transformation in which a figure is rotated about a point. Called the center of rotation. There's just one more sentence, and then we're just going to draw it out. The number of degrees a figure rotates is the angle of rotation. I'm going to move the screen up. Hopefully you guys have the reflection part. All right, so now we're going to draw an X and Y plane. And I'm going to warn you, it's going to get messy. So if you have different colored pens, or if you're writing on a tablet or something, you might want to actually change colors. So let's draw on our X and Y plane. And we're going to draw, well, first let's remember, this is our first quadrant. This is our second quadrant. This is our third quadrant. And this is our fourth quadrant. Hopefully we've memorized that at this point, because the quadrants are never going to change. Like the number, like quadrant 1 will always be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4 in all grades. So let's say I draw a shape, and that shape is in the first quadrant, and that shape is a heart. Let's say that shape is this right here. And yes, you have to draw the heart. It doesn't have to be beautiful. My heart is not a good representation. It's fine. That is called the pre-image. Okay, so this is my pre-image. Before it's rotated. Can you guys remind me in the chat, what are the 4 rotations we discussed in our Desmos activities? What are the 4 degree rotations that we discussed? We have a 90-degree rotation. We have a 180-degree rotation, 270-degree rotation, and 360-degree rotation. And we know that 360-degree rotation is the same as a 0-degree rotation. Because if you rotate an object 360 degrees, it's the same object. So it's like you rotated at 0 degrees, like you didn't do anything. 360. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we actually talked about clockwise and counterclockwise. So on the side right here, hopefully you have some room. Can you guys write clockwise? We're going to say that that's CW, clockwise. And the direction of clockwise is to the right. So it's like you're turning to the right. In the direction that a clock moves, to the right. And counterclockwise we're going to abbreviate like this, CCW, counterclockwise. You're going to move to the left in the opposite direction. It's like counter to the direction of the clock. So some students like to say that that's turning to the left. So we have clockwise and counterclockwise. So if we're going to rotate our pre-image, if we're going to rotate this heart 90 degrees clockwise. So let's say rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. That means my shape, I'm going to write it in, I'm running out of colors. I'm going to write it in red. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. That means my shape will now be in the fourth quadrant. If I rotate my shape 90 degrees clockwise, my shape will now look like this. And you guys can't see, but I'm actually turning my iPad so that I can draw this a little better. That's what my shape is going to look like now. And it's going to be at -3 on the y-axis. Now, if I were going to rotate this shape, my pre-image, by 180 degrees, so rotate 180 degrees clockwise, that would mean I'm in the third quadrant. This is 180 degrees clockwise. That would mean that my heart is now at -3 on the x-axis. So my heart, I have to turn my iPad. There's no way I can draw it backwards. Okay. My heart would look like this. And the heart is supposed to be the same shape and size, but I'm human. There's human error. My heart looks really small in blue, smaller in red, and it looks huge in purple, but it's supposed to be the same exact size. Okay. Now the last rotation is a 270 degree rotation. I'm going to draw that in orange. Yeah, orange is good. Come on. Okay. So let's say I'm going to rotate. Oh, it looks like it's going to be red. All right, I'll do it in yellow. So let's rotate 270 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to rotate 270 degrees clockwise. So that means I will now be at 3 on the y-axis, and my shape will look like this. And then 360 degrees, you guys know that. 360 degrees would just be the original shape. It's also the same thing as 0 degrees rotation. Okay, so if you think this picture looks messy, get ready. It's going to get even messier. So I'm going to do this. What color have I not used? Blue, red, green. Oh, I haven't used green, so I'll use green. So now if we go counterclockwise, this is 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is the same thing as 270 degrees clockwise. Do you see how 90 degrees counterclockwise is the same thing as 270 degrees clockwise? You get the same rotation. Now, if I rotate 2 quadrants, that's 180 degrees counterclockwise. Actually, I should write it down here. That's 180 degrees counterclockwise, which is the same thing as 180 degrees clockwise. These two are the same rotation. 180 degrees clockwise is the same as 180 degrees counterclockwise. And then if you rotate 270 degrees counterclockwise, that's the same thing as 90 degrees counterclockwise. So this is 270 degrees counterclockwise. And then 360 degrees, you end up at the same spot, counterclockwise.